Welcome back to Barry Charles, your one-stop shop for everything finance in New Zealand. Yes, Air New Zealand is back in the rafters as it continues to soar its way up in popularity as the dividend is coming to you. Yes, you the stock, and it's coming to you by the end of September in 2023 for the first time in 19 years, 4 years. We finally get some money back as us as shareholders. Now, what does this mean for you in New Zealand? Can they continue to rise above? Yes, profits have come back, as I spoke about in my other video, but this is Air New Zealand needs to become a solid growth business if you want to see big long-term potential. And how is that? They need to spread their wings around the world more, get into more countries. They need to get more bums on seats. They need more people traveling around the world. And at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom dollar. Yes, they've done some cut costing, which has helped them, but they got to continue to grow the business and make sure they are making money and getting bums on seats. It's not just bums on seats. They're going to make sure they are making profits from all these ticket sales to continue to grow the business. So Air New Zealand, yes, what's the key fundamentals they need to do? Well, clearly, okay, so your biggest money comes from alcohol sales. If you get the alcohol sales, that's one of the key factors. The food, like all the stuff, is up on top. The ones that up on top is the ones you actually get in your tickets. But on top of that, that's a key factor. That's one thing. Providing stuff that people want to eat, want to drink when they're especially on the long flights. They're keys to making money. But to me, it's about getting more and more people flying to destinations. Is obviously how the demand. So they got to get demand. Yes, and they have other competitors. So Air New Zealand is generally not the cheapest. So that's why you got the Jetsstars and the other companies involved here. Do Air New Zealand need to go cheaper? Not necessarily, but I think Air New Zealand need to do some more work on their branding. I really do. I think they haven't really done enough on their branding side of things to really promote it here in New Zealand and Australia. I honestly do not hear about Air New Zealand in Australia at all. Absolutely nothing. I hear nothing about Air New Zealand. It's always Qantas. It's always the other big Australian companies. I don't hear anything about Air New Zealand here. They need to promote Air New Zealand more. And how do they do it? They got to get the big guns. Yes, at the moment the Warriors are flying high. Air New Zealand should be going hard out to try and get sponsorship with the Warriors. They are flying high. They are traveling every second week pretty much to Australia. Come on. So they really should be doing more sponsoring in the Warriors, and I think that's one key there. Obviously, the All Blacks is probably hard to get into the All Blacks, but that is clearly another one, even though All Blacks are struggling a bit at the moment. But yeah, Air New Zealand really needs to start working on those two, and maybe some Australian celebrities, maybe a Hugh Jackman or something like that. They really need to get going with their promotion and get themselves really just to expand Air New Zealand, get more people flying through the gates going for Air New Zealand, thinking, yes, Hugh Jackman goes on this one and all. Well, like whoever, it doesn't have to be Hugh Jackman, we might already have a flight thing, but just for that instance, just someone real famous, get them going, and that's how they can start to roll in more and more money. Air New Zealand need to grow the business, so that's one way to do it. Obviously, growing in terms of international space, where else can they fly to that they're not in at the moment? Can they add that to the portfolio? More flights to the destinations that are very popular as well. Getting more people to fly, because there is sometimes a shortage of flights to some areas. They got to improve that as well. It's a big key. Obviously, China's a big one for New Zealand. They got to continue all that. But yeah, it's all about the bottom line. How do they make sure the bottom line, and obviously their revenue is increasing over time to give you as an investor a lot of money just outside the dividend? Because to be frankly honest, for probably the last 20 odd years, Air New Zealand has always been about a dividend, and that's why they've been in it, and that's why they haven't been in it for the last 4 years. Now they're coming back because there's a dividend return. Let's hope this dividend continues to stay. That's what we need to, shareholders will want long term, that Air New Zealand continues to give dividends, which is key for the stock. If they decide to just give this one off dividend and you don't see it again, you'll be scratching your head thinking, what was that doing? But yes, but yeah, Air New Zealand needs to really push towards getting themselves into continuous growth. It doesn't have to be skyrocketing growth. I don't expect that at all, unless they're going to go bonanza and actually be a more of a multiple country destination. Obviously, you probably have to change the name from Air New Zealand if you want to take on the world globally and take on the Boeings, and even though Boeing's a company that's struggling as well at the moment, so whether you want to go to that extreme, yeah, just Air New Zealand might want to work on looking at ways to improve their business. But yeah, so Air New Zealand, obviously getting back to profitability was very good. The dividend clearly has been shown in the stock price at the moment. Whether that lasts, we will see. There could be a bit of a continued spike, and then as soon as the dividend is paid, woo, they all sell out. It's a bit of an arbitrage play. It happens every time, pretty much with any dividend stock. Just before the dividend is going to be paid, people rush in, especially if there's been an increase in the dividend, they rush in to buy the stock, take the dividend money, and run away. That's what happens. It's just part of the market, and it's what's going to happen here with the New Zealand shares. Everyone's rushing in. So you had all these people that have been holding all this time, and all these other people that just buy in the last week, get the dividend money just as much as you. But what you have done, if you have been buying while it's low, is you have seen your price increase and wait for it to continue to increase from when we got that remuneration back earlier in a few years ago, when we got the shares at a decent rate, even though obviously the shareholder base was diluted then. Clearly that was part of the deal. They added more shares to try and get themselves out of the predicament, which was not good. But long term, you may see their benefit in the stock price. That's what you want to see. You want to see the stock at $2, $3. It's a long way from there. It's a long road to get to there. They've got to continue to prove themselves profited after month after month after every quarterly. They've got to keep improving their profitability to see them fly to the moon. But yes, Air New Zealand is a stock that's definitely a stock you can look at investing in, but it's mainly a dividend stock. Just be frank, at the moment it's mainly just a dividend stock. If they want to be anything else, a growth stock, value stock, they have to continuously grow the business year after year. Not just a profit then and a loss, profit, loss. They need to go profit, make more profit every single year if they want to start really proving they are a dominant business in Australasia. If they want to be one of those businesses, they need to work on getting their bottom line and more revenue so they can continue to grow the business. Well, thank you very much for joining me. That's it here from Barry Charles. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I have plenty more videos for you coming up soon. Have a great day out there.